Hey buddies, it's Will of DAGames, and wow, another vlog at a random inconspicuous time. Why am I making this? Why is it so early in the morning? Why aren't I asleep yet? I'm here to tell you guys. There are a few changes, nothing big, nothing drastic at all. In fact, it probably might actually be of benefit. I just want to let you guys know that there are some things happening in the background that we may have to change. Nothing major, I just wanted to run you through it. So as you know, we have a lot of Let's Plays underneath the works. We have, various things like indie games, Nintendo games, and story-driven. But, we have like the massive plethora of other things on our channel to do, like cartoons, and live streams, and animations. I think I said that already. I know songs are in there. I know I fucking said something right. But all the things in our Cataclysm, we are doing so much that sometimes we have to sit and prioritize how much work we have to put in, because we don't want to overwork ourselves, but we also want to push our potential. So right now, we're looking at a point where you freaking love indie games from us, and genuinely, your support is amazing. You're the best people out there for supporting all of those indie games. It's freaking amazing, but it seems a little bit of a problem when it comes to story-driven games, and I think I know why. Because, there's some games out there that our demographic doesn't suit. They don't want to watch something, they just appear. Totally fine. But as it shows, a lot of people seem to look at our videos and they request something, they want it to keep going, and of course, in order to keep doing that, that takes time out of our day. In fact, I can actually show you the editing process for one of our videos. So ignore all the stuff that you see, media or offline. Afterwards, I normally like to remove it from the computer to save space, etc. But if you look down here, the timeline, once again, ignore the red. The blue part is basically supposed to be the gameplay, and the green part is a nested sequence compiled of a movie file of the camera, and then there's a bunch of audio in there. I keep it all unison lined, so if you see something cropping up in these little places, it's because I've edited places out where it's either been dead or legit it goes in and transits to another joke or a face cam zoom. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this. Even some of the more incremental pieces where we add little pieces of audio right here. So I think that was a heartbeat and all that stuff. And then over here we have things like extensive intros. Now that normally takes, as a whole, this episode, I believe, is Stories Untold. It took 5 hours to do. And that's not including recording time. Recording time actually went for about 50 minutes. And actually be able to span that down to about 22 to 23 minutes. So that's a lot of editing, a lot of stuff, and even then, that is leaving some of the incremental things based on storylines, so a lot of you got to see that. But it's choosing those times, it's countlessly and seamlessly always looking through the crops, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and then removing what else, making the timing perfect for you guys, joining in coherently with a joke, and then there's the rendering process, which takes, however long the actual video is, because I've got a 1080 Ti, which is fantastic. So a 22-minute long video, 22 to 23 minutes rendering, and if it's extensive, there's a lot of stuff in it. Normally takes like 25, so add an extra 2 minutes. It takes about that much, and then with my internet speeds, it takes about another 45 minutes to upload it, then process it. I have to make sure the scheduling's right, I have to promote it all on Twitter, and make sure everything coherently runs. So add another hour, and then 5 hours. That's 6 hours. 6 hours plus another 1 hour is 7. And then the rest of it for uploading and processing, 8 hours. And that's a normal working day. But in order to make the songs, this is where we sometimes have to cut back and have to prioritize what Let's Plays go out. And for 8 hours of work to not be viewed is kind of a big deal. And you'd think, why put a lot of work into this? Because, well, it's not just about putting in a lot of work, it's showing dedication as we're totally original. We're trying to do things that are different to everybody else. Whilst everybody sat in front of a face cam and just playing a video game, a lot of us want to expand onto that, and a lot of people see that as a fake persona. Unfortunately, they're very delusional, because a lot of people find the creativity is the sense of it. They say that, oh, you should just be able to be funny on improv on the spot. But you're looking at a comedian's perspective, a stand-up comedian who's just able to stand there and just talk seamlessly. But you know what? That doesn't mean it's any better. That means it's a form of humor. Whether you rely on using a scripted formula or whether you rely on improv, neither is better than the other. It's just one's respected, one is also respected. So we choose our medium, which is We used to edit back in the day, actually, but now we've done it excessively. Like, we put a lot of emphasis on making the best edits for you guys. I've started learning a lot about After Effects and Premiere, and we want to show off the best we can. But in order to do that, we sometimes have to sacrifice some of the more important things. So, like, we have not got a song prepared in the slightest, and we need to get one prepped up. But let's say a story game that doesn't do well at all ends up taking our perspective away. It's only the story-driven ones. The indie games, we're fine with, you know, but we're not just strictly stuck with indie. We have got a load of things, Nintendo-related, Steam-related, all this stuff. And we have to think about where the story Let's Plays are gonna go. So, for the quick change, we are actually going to be changing from doing Let's Plays of story-driven games to live streaming at this point, because we want to further expand and just make regular videos and be as creative as possible. But while they are kind of a detriment to where we're going at the moment, we still want to play what we want to play, which is why those games that we want to play as well will be going in streams. But we're prioritizing how we're putting them out there, because then we have more time to focus on the other things like animation and music and all those sorts of jibber jabber. You know, the things that only back-end people need to know about. I mean, of course, if you take an interest in it, that's freaking amazing. It's awesome. But right now, that's kind of how it is. It needs to be. And for those of you who after this proclaim that I'm lazy or anything like that, I've just basically said that I do like 5 different things. And I'm hardly ever at home. I'm always at conventions. I'm always traveling. I've got my daughter to take care of. I'm probably one of the busiest people you can think of right now, who's having to span into all these different things. But in order to do those things, I have to sacrifice a little bit of what's important. I have to put what's important basically in there, so it all blends. And with the story games, if they did any better, if they were doing great as is, then I would continue to do them as videos. But whilst they're not important to most people, people prefer a live reaction. I guess people like to see that live reaction of those story-driven games, how they really feel in the moment. So we're just gonna continue doing streams, because we know that a lot of people like to interact and say, oh my god, I was scared too, and you can share that. And in the dead moments, you can also chat with them, and I've been meaning to chat with you guys for so long. So those are the only reasons. I just wanted to point this out there because I guess it kind of triggered me. I made a poll, and it was about what games you wanted to see, and the 2 biggest ones were Rick and Morty. By the way, thank you. Rick and Morty did great. You guys seem to really enjoy that, and who knows, we may bring back Rick and Morty again. I think it's more than likely, because if you guys enjoyed it and I did, well, there we go. If I didn't enjoy it, then I'd give up, but you'll see. But that and Outlast were the 2 tops. Yet I upload an Outlast video, and it was nowhere to be seen. Like, okay, I say nowhere. It's a figure of speech. It means, like, from what we normally get, it's like it just didn't match out. And I don't want to blame YouTube at this point. I want to blame myself. Maybe I wasn't supposed to edit this, and it was supposed to be a stream. So while we're going through the ropes, we're testing this out, because if they did any better, then we would be doing them as videos, but unfortunately not. So we'll do them as streams. But don't think of it as like a backup plan. It's a test. You know, it might not actually do well either, and the videos might come up well again. You never know with YouTube. So this is not anything to worry about other than just, you know what? I got story games, and I want you to experience them with me. If it's an indie game, there are funny moments you can get out of indie games that can be really tight and packed together. You don't need the dead-end pieces, which is fine, because there's nothing much to go on. And you could argue in Outlast 2, you know, you've got story parts, but then there's dead parts where you're just running and walking. Yeah, fine, edit. But to do that excessively, and considering how long Outlast 2 is, you guys have seen other people obviously play it, so you probably guessed it's probably about like 8 or 9 hours of gameplay, which is really, really freaking large in my opinion. Which is why games like that would do better if condensed, live, ready to go. You know, everybody's looking at the stream and everybody's interacting, and it's just best to get that, you know, the 4 hours each stream just ready to go. Everybody's watching, because it doesn't matter about replay value after that. It just means I got to interact with you guys and able to show something for it. That's all. Meanwhile, that'll be a benefit to us, because then we could actually work on our songs and actually work on our cartoons, all the different things that we've been meaning to work on for so long. We can finally get to that. So, you know, it's just priorities. We want to make sure we're doing the best for you guys, and we want to find a good way around it. And we feel that the best way to do it is through story-driven games, doing streams, and indie games, doing regular Let's Plays. For now, anyway. Again, there is no set formula with us. It might go back to normal, it might not. But I do feel as though this method would work. You never know, actually, because if people watch the streams, they'll end up looking at it and be like, this is better than the Let's Plays. So then that might take over, but I want to provide for the community as much as also providing mine, because YouTube's about broadcasting yourself. And you want to be yourself during Let's Plays. So I always am. Even with the emphasis of the sketches, you can't go off of something, you know, without a personality. So you need a personality in order to get into it. Is anybody who says that it jades a personality? No, it actually emphasizes. It brings it out. It tells you that you have one. If you're just boring and just sat there, just playing a game, what edits could you just apply for that? There's nothing. But anyway, I'm probably wasting a lot of your time during this point. I know I've expressed it time and time again, but that's the whole premise of this vlog. I'm gonna get going now because I've got a stream tomorrow. I'm actually gonna be streaming Little Nightmares, I've decided, because it is apparently a story-driven game and can be very puzzling. So we'll see about that. I can't wait to delve into it a bit more, and yeah. If you like what you saw, click like and subscribe, share with friends and family, maybe your dog. If you're not familiar with our Twitter, DAGames Official. We will be there of all the updates of animations, music, let's plays, and live streams. I'm Will of DAGames. There's some plans, there's some changes, but they won't be too big and hopefully they'll help. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out!